I just wanted to remind you that we have a really great lineup of speakers for today, and I would like to welcome the next one to the stage. It's going to be Gregory Rall, Senior Manager at Invest Hong Kong, who will provide an overview of business opportunities in Hong Kong for healthcare, life science businesses, and investors. Hello, Gregory, are you with us?
Yes, and I will share my screen.
Please go ahead.
Yes, hello everyone. Good morning in Europe, good afternoon in Asia. Would like to give you a kind of overlook about the biomedical cluster of Hong Kong and also the accessibility to Asia. So when you see this kind of skyline, you see Hong Kong as a very vibrant city and also a city, international city, as bridge between the West and East. When we talk about Invest Hong Kong, we are from the government and we give the support to young companies, startups and scale-ups and greater companies free of charge. And we can also connect you to the specific stakeholders in Hong Kong. And if you would like to know more information about Hong Kong, how to land there, about visa application and legal system, etc., we would like to help you. When you see Hong Kong, of course, we are in the center of Asia, and then in the reach of 5 hours, you can reach 50% of the world's population, which can be actually very attractive for your businesses in Asia, not only placing in Hong Kong, reaching out from mainland China, but also approaching other markets like Korea, Japan, India, Singapore. This is a kind of overlook of the Hong Kong's activities and also the kind of services we give. You have with Hong Kong and our government a kind of support. The tax regime is very elegant and not so high. You have a leading IP system in Hong Kong. It's a very special place in Asia for the arbitration. And in addition, you have with the Hong Kong city, vibrant city, also access to mainland China over the Greater Bay Area. I will give you later an overlook. Last but not least, we are the third biggest financial market after New York and London. And now we will explain you later in the talk also about the leading IPO destination for biotech companies in Asia via Hong Kong. Life sciences. So when you see this overlook, and this is the kind of value chain I like to show always in the beginning of the biomedical hub and cluster. So you have works in the basic research to preclinical, clinical trials to the market for your products, and you're participating with lots of prominent companies, greater pharma, and also leading clinical trial centers in Hong Kong. When we talk about the health system, you can see Hong Kong also as a public and private healthcare system. So we have private hospitals, specific 10%, and public hospitals. And then you have also kind of certain regulation, and this has something to do with the harmonization. So when you're approved in Europe or in America, you can easily land your products in Hong Kong. It's not the biggest market with 7.5, but you can have a kind of testbed market for Asia and later reach out for the Asian markets. In addition, what Dimitri said about aging society and longevity, yes, Hong Kong has a very long life expectancy, and this is actually very good. People live long because of the weather, the food, the system, but this is also the kind of challenge for the civil population, because in the last remaining years, you want to have a good quality of life, and therefore we are looking for partners in the world, bringing their solutions to Hong Kong to work with us together. Clinical trials, yes, you can do clinical trials in Hong Kong, and as said, as a test bed, as an initial market for you, Hong Kong with 7.5 million population, but this means you can have a kind of exploration R&D works in Hong Kong, which can also be funded by the Science Park. This I will tell you later in addition. Healthcare system, yes, this is similar like in European countries. We work on prevention, diagnosis, treatment, and rehabilitation. But more important is we're looking for more tools, and this leads us to the topic of medical AI. Diagnostics, yeah, diagnostics is a very, very important topic because how can I say, the traditional medicine, no, not traditional medicine, the normal therapeutic areas where like cancer, diabetes, etc., and so on, and this was always about the about the treatment, but the medicine of now and future is more about the diagnosis, so preemptive medicine, which leads us to precision medicine. Based on big data, based on new tools, as Dimitri also mentioned, we can have a better analytics about the healthy population or non-healthy population, which leads to a longer life. And with this, we have a kind of hub of diagnostic companies in Hong Kong. And I'm very pleased to know that two leading diagnostic companies, Genomics and Sonomics, just made a merger, and the merger will be celebrated next week in Hong Kong. AI for drug discovery. This Dimitri also mentioned. Yeah, we are very pleased to know that in silico medicine is placed in Hong Kong. They started actually in America, but then they settled in Hong Kong, as also Dimitri mentioned, because of several reasons. This is the access to the Asian markets. It's about the proliferation of medical AI, and it's also about the funding. So with in silico medicine, several more prominent companies, for example, from Europe, will also place in Hong Kong. In the near future, when I worked before in Japan, we already started with medical AI companies. But now when I work now for Hong Kong, I could come and reach towards very specific companies from Europe working on eye disease like glaucoma and AMD. And you can actually have an earlier diagnosis on this kind of diseases for the earlier treatment. And this is very vital now and for the Asian society. Last but not least, if we think about the CNS, about the central nervous system related to Parkinson's and Alzheimer's disease, based on aging society, I think we should work on new tools related to medical AI, and the keyword is novel biomarkers. Pharma revolution, of course, it's about pharma in Hong Kong and biotech, but here the keyword was stem cell research. When we saw stem cell research, it was a kind of moral issue beforehand, but now we have new technology with the IPS, so we can actually create organoids, and the organoids can actually support clinical trials to avoid preclinical tests with animals. And then you can also cultivate new parts of your body for the improvement. This is about the Hong Kong Genome Project, and this is actually very important because of the cohort study of healthy and non-healthy volunteers to get a better diagnosis in the future and about the treatment to create new biomedical tools. Fundraising, this is actually one of the most important topics of today, and our colleague Joel Fan will from the Hong Kong Exchange will later make the outline about the Hong Kong Exchange and why it's so important. As an overlook and snapshot is, yes, we're the third biggest financial hub in the world, but regarding to the biomedical side, biotech side became really the leading IPO destination in the world. And this has also something to do not only with the biotech chapter 18A, as mentioned before, like a pre-listing approach, but also related to mainland China, because there was some issue that a company could not go at the same time IPO in Shanghai or New York, and then Hong Kong was free of that. Many Chinese companies placed now in Hong Kong and went IPO to not only for fundraising, but also to proliferate their businesses in Asia. This is just an example of TigerMed. TigerMed is a leading CRO from China, and they went for several billions of Hong Kong dollars public. Another approach is Spark. This is the very new approach. Spark means special purpose acquisition company, means you go IPO without underwriters, and you have to have a lots of technologies, innovative technologies. We're talking about unicorn companies which have a kind of very special investor in mind. And these investors normally create a kind of joint venture with a unicorn company like Prenetics, and they merge with the Hong Kong tycoon Adrian Cheng, and went Spark for $1.7 billion US dollars, which is very impressive. Greater Bay Area, I just give you a quick overlook. This was also mentioned. Greater Bay Area is now the area, we call it Canton or Guangzhou, means a Greater Bay Area, a population of 70 million people. And this is not only Hong Kong, Shenzhen, Macau, and other 9 cities. And this means also when you place in Hong Kong, you can actually scale up and scale up in the Greater Bay Area. This is just about talents and access. And now I come to the Science Park. Science Park is, of course, the leading hotspot for our technology companies, biomedical companies, all kinds of engineering companies placing here. and you get a very superb support in the cluster, and with means also kind of labs and financial supports. We have actually a very special funding for young companies. You can ask me anytime about that. I would like to support you. This is about the sub areas of biomedical, as you know. And then we come to the other value chain of translational research. So we are proliferating products from the bench to the bedside. This is something very new. This is the Hong Kong Shenzhen Innovation Technology Park. And this is a kind of, I would say, a bonus, because when you create your businesses in Hong Kong, you can actually reach out to the Greater Bay Area via the Shenzhen hub supported by us. And of course, everything is bigger in China. So you have lots of opportunities to scale up with your company in the Greater Bay Area. Summary, working with us together is always welcome. So we from the Hong Kong government, Invest Hong Kong, would like to help you with the planning, setup, and launch and landing in Hong Kong. So please ask me anytime if you have a question. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Sounds great. Thank you so much, Gregory. I think you're going to be responsible for a lot of people moving to Hong Kong now in the pursuit of longer and better lives. And thank you so much for giving us all this opportunity and this information.
Yeah, thank you too.
Thank you, Gregory.